Hey guys, back for a BITREP. I'm still sharing some content of me trying to figure out Eldar lists with this idea of moving to ignore cover in Children of Prophecy. If you watched the last episode, you saw me play into Zach, and I bounced off the Thousand Suns a little bit. I made some changes to the list to reflect that, and then tried it at a little pretend RTT we did at my house, and I got a chance to play a young guy named Nick, who is within a year of joining competitive 40K. He works for the guys at Aegis Games out here in Bellingham, Washington. Nick's an absolutely great guy. He's 21 years old and can already grow a fantastically better mustache and beard than I can, which is a little bit offensive, but we don't hold that against him. I do. I'm holding it against him. Okay, so what we have here is my prototype Eldar, with the heavy shooting enough to deal with things like Chaos Space Marines, Blood Angels, things like that. And Nick's playing a Behemoth list that is really based off of Bortel's idea for Tyrant. So it has 3 units of Tyrant Guard, some Gargoyles, some Raveners, some Venom Thropes, the Flyrant, a walking, and then Swarmlord. And so what it does is it gives the Tyrant Guard double cover, basically, is how it works out. So they have a 0-up save and cover. My list ignores cover, so this was a fantastic test for him. We are playing the 6 objectives hold 1 mission here, you can see. And you could also see that we've done player-placed terrain, which looks pretty good on the table here. And we also have already deployed our armies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start us going here. You can see the list below. Nick gets the first turn. And you can see he's just moving the gargoyles up. I believe it's to put a banner. You know, they don't need to advance because they're pretty fast. So he's throwing a banner up there. One thing you guys will notice is that I have my D cannons right here. I measured the terrain very carefully on that, and I know that the D cannons reach to right here. And the idea behind that is that if they reach to right there, that means that if he wants to use this corner to position to come after me, then I'm going to be able to shoot him with D cannons. That's the point there. And then I've deployed 3 units of Rangers. Let me make it red so it's a little easier for you guys to see. There's one here. There's one here, and there's one here. All of the Rangers, first of all, this is a mission where I believe where I had to have people out in order to get the CP on the first turn. These Rangers out here are to move forward and do stuff like R&D. On the first turn of the game, if I go first, I didn't go first. I didn't redeploy them. I want him to kill these. He can't, this terrain is more than 2 inches, so he can't hit me from this side of the wall. He has to come through the wall to kill the Rangers. My goal of that is if he does that, that these Shining Spears that are deployed here can then go kill the Raveners that came through the wall to deal with it, or the Tyrant Guard, or whatever happens to be. So we have 2 units of Shining Spears here, Rangers over here. There's a unit of 7 Corsairs right here that are just dudes that I used to do dude things. There's some Warp Spiders that are off the table. Over here is a whole bunch of Psychers. Up here is the big Fire Dragon unit. And also my Banshees are up here as well. So he's moving on up. We have a little bit of proxying going on. These are not actually Hive Guard. They're Tyrant Guard. So we've got Tyrant Guard here, Tyrant Guard here. These are the Raveners that are coming to get the Rangers, as I predicted. I want those Raveners dead. They're like the only thing that's long enough movement to threaten me as an Eldar player. If I can kill those Raveners, then I only have to work on the Tyrant Guard being dealt with before they can reach me, basically. This is a big unit of Tyranid Warriors back here. There's another unit of Tyranid Warriors over here. Here's the rest of the Tyrant Guard back here. 3 units of Tyrant Guard. So he's casting out some psychic powers. He's putting Catalyst out, I believe, on them. So Catalyst on them. So that was he didn't really have any shooting, so that was the charge into the Rangers. I don't know why I make him roll this. I think the Rangers have no ability. Oh, there we go. I'm like, yeah. And then he overruns the Raveners back to the train right here. That's fine. He used up CP. He got his Raveners moved towards me. If I want to, I can shoot them with the D cannons this turn. Now it's off to my turn. He didn't score engage. He didn't score grind, and he put up banners on this one, this one, and this one. So he's got 3 banners up. I've taken thin because of how many chunky boys he has. I've taken R&D because I feel like he's not going to be able to screen me and stop me from doing it. I've stopped taking R&D in Eldar. You're in my later bit reps, you're going to see that I don't take R&D anymore. I don't think Eldar have enough cheap things to do R&D effectively. I think that Eldar are a little bit expensive, but incredibly punchy. And I think right now, because Eldar secondaries aren't as good as everybody else's, well, I mean, they're good at they're average rather than just being good. And I think because of that, Eldar have to play a very aggressive game and smash their opponent now. And so because of that, I don't want to have resources doing R&D is basically the deal. So I haven't been really planning for R&D in my new rules. I wonder what I'm looking up. Oh, I'm looking up the D cannons for some reason. I don't know why. So I don't have a great angle to shoot him on this turn with the D cannons or with the fire dragons. I'm trying to. What I want to do, I can tell you guys, is I want to run with a 6 advance. The fire dragons up here. I have an advance down here. You can see it. I want to run up here. I want to shoot these stupid Tyrant Guard over here with fire dragons, and then I want to fire and fade back behind these rangers so that I can't be charged. That's what I'd like to do. But as I measure it like 4 times, I discovered that it's just not, the fire dragons just can't reach. It's just too far. The warp spiders that are back here also can't get the job done. So what we're doing, actually, I think this list doesn't have the big unit of warp spiders. What I've done instead is I've moved my big unit of shining spears up into here. I've left the banshees back here. These are banshees right here. And then I'm surrounding the shining spears with corsairs all the way around. Now, the idea for that is that when he has pyrovores in Deep Strike, and when he brings the pyrovores in, he can go like this and shoot off the corsairs, but he's not going to be able, I measure it very carefully, he's not going to be able to shoot the shining spears, which is what I don't want. What I think is what I'm baiting here is there's also rangers in front of the shining spears right here. So what I'm making him do is he needs to come in and touch this terrain with enough guns to clear the rangers, and then he needs to charge the shining spears, hopefully with the Raveners. Now, what I think is even if the Raveners get into the spears, they aren't going to kill all of them. These spears are going to be fully defensive buffed here in just a moment. Here's me doing all that measuring I was talking about for the fire dragons. Every time I measure it, I hope, will this be the time that they're close enough? So we have a unit of banshees right here, a unit of rangers right here. The fire dragons are moving back to where they already are, but just a little bit forward. Oh, this is me realizing that they don't reach and that the D cannons don't reach as well. In retrospect, this is player place terrain. I could have moved this. This thing could have been forward more. And it probably should have been to give the D cannons more threat on the first turn, but that's okay. That's a Farseer Skyrunner on Octopus that's headed over there. I did do a cute thing where I put these bikes up here. That's just 3 normal bikes, normal Shuriken bikes. And the idea there is I'm going to put guide on them because I don't have any other shooting. And then if I guide them into these gargoyles, maybe I kill all of them. I'm not saying that's math, but if I do kill all of them, that removes an entire OBSEC thing, right? This is me casting psychic powers right now, basically putting all my buffs out. Because if I can just shoot off those gargoyles, that weakens his position, and that bike unit, even if it dies, it's only 60 points. It's not that big of a deal. I love how fast the bike unit is. So it shoots. Oh, actually, I think that was Executioner from the Farseer killing some gargoyles. There's Fortune on the Shining Spears. That's going to end up being really important. So that's Doom on the gargoyles, trying to get them dead. That's Guide on the bikes at the top of the screen. I'm sorry, the glare doesn't let you read my cards. This is the bike shooting. They don't do a fantastic job, but they do pull up 7, which with the executioner that I did means that those guys are dead. And then I managed to roll a ridiculously hot 5 for battle focus, and so those bikes just slide right back in onto the objective. Sorry about that. Dogs wait for no man. All right. So that's pretty much my first turn. I realize that the Pyrovores can come in over here, but they'll only be able to kill the bikes. They're not going to be able to get to the fire dragons. This is me just positioning a little bit because I told him I was sloppy with this. Do you want me to make it cleaner so you can see the deep strike? He said yes. And so I just adjusted my guys a little bit to where I wanted them to be because I had been sloppy before. And like there was weird coherency problems and stuff happening. So the beginning of next turn, he gets an 8. No secondary so far. He hasn't engaged grinded or banners. I still think grind is an absolutely terrible secondary. You should only take grind if you have less MSU than your opponent does, and you think 9 is exciting. I don't think I've ever seen anybody get 12 or 15 on grind unless they're playing like knights. That'd be okay. I just don't value it at all. I never take it because the reality is you often won't get a kill on the first turn of any 40k game, and you often might not get a kill on the 5th turn of any 40k game. And so if you're not getting a kill on the 1st or 5th turn, grind becomes really challenging. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th turns, if you are playing an army that kills more MSU than you lose, then you might get it. But even if you get it on all 3 turns, that's only 9 points, which is not that exciting. So I don't value it. I think banners is also a little bit questionable here, only because I'm playing such a fast army. That I can just clear him off the objectives and take his banners away. People are Tyranid players in particular are taking banners a lot because they think it's how they're going to handle not having bad secondaries. And in some matchups, sure, makes perfect sense. There's the Raveners that I baited. You guys can see that I completely predicted what he would do there in response. I'm a big fan of making a play on my turn that I know they have to do what they have to do in response. That's his only option. He has the other thing he could do is throw the Flyrant over there, but he's not going to do that. So he doesn't have any way of dealing with the Shining Spears, and where they are right now, 16 inches off of them is nutso. It's like here. Maybe it's more like here, but it's still plenty far to get deep into whatever I want to kill. Do I want to clear off this objective? Fine. Do I want to charge the Flyrant? Do I want to attack and charge Tyrant Guard? I am just simply positioned to make it happen. I do have 1 6 on a fate die saved. I didn't use either of my 4s on hits. I'm not sure why. I also didn't use my 1 on advance. So he's moved his Tyrant Guard up to the middle of the board to try to threaten me, basically, to try to get them closer to me. They are in D-Cannon range, and they're in Fire Dragon range for next turn. We know that. These gargoyles are just going to come up and hold the objective. There's the Flyrant being protected by all those Tyrant Guard. Lots of talking with our hands. There's Swarmy. His Swarmy is a Kit Bashed model, so Swarmy comes around the corner, hangs out with the Tyrant Guard, can't be targeted. Nice. I have 1 primary because it's kill things, and I killed those gargoyles on the first turn. And then I have 4 because I easily got ritual done. The way I get ritual on these Eldar lists is I through the Protect Jinx spike to the middle of the table, and then I quicken him back. With reroll 1s and 2s to cast, it's very unlikely that goes sideways for me. And if it does, I lose a 60-point Warlock with Protect Jinx on him. That sucks, but that's not that big of a deal. This particular version of the list, I also have 5 Corsair caster guys, like the elite guys, back on the home objective, casting +1 CP each turn. This list has 10 casts, so losing that one Warlock is not the end of the world. His warriors here are trying to screen out my warp spiders. I don't know why I just put a Leman Russ on the table. You'd have to ask Pascal on that, but I saw a Leman Russ stick on the table there for a moment. So here, this felt bad. I didn't push the Banshees in close enough to the terrain, and as a result, he points out that he can bring the Pyrovores in exactly where I knew he would, and he gets to shoot the Banshees with one of them because of the long range. Man, did that frustrate me at the time, but it wasn't actually that big of a deal. It just is an irritating thing to have missed. So Nick's doing some 3d6 drop lowest casting, get some powers out. He's got Catalyst out on the top Tyrant guard. He's got another buff on these guys that we didn't have a card for, so I threw a card down. That must be the Behemoth buff, which I can't remember what is right now. But there's a Behemoth buff that helps you in combat. 6 is auto wound, maybe. I think is maybe what it is. I don't remember. Come on, Big Nick. So the Banshees roll pretty hot on their saves there. I lose 2, so I've got the Exarch and 2 others hanging with a Protect Jinx Warlock right there. This is them shooting the Corsairs, which they easily pull off the table. That's fine. If the Corsairs were 4. Then the Raveners are shooting into those Rangers to try to clear them so that they can charge the Shining Spears. I didn't remember that the Raveners have... I wasn't touching terrain because there's windows, and I didn't remember that the Raveners had AP, so I didn't expect the Rangers to be picked up that quickly, but they were. In come 3 Raveners. I Overwatch... No, there's 3 Raveners there. I'm thinking of a different game. So we got the 3 Raveners hitting the Shining Spears. I'm not sure what his psychic power did. So I'm deciding how I want to do this. Do I want to try to tank them on the 4-up invul on the leader? I decide that I don't. And so I just start kind of taking the saves, and I do lose only 1 Shining Spear from those Raveners. I don't know what math is there, but the Shining Spears then get uppity and fight back. Raveners don't have an invul, so AP4, even wounding on 5s, feels really bad. And I pick up the Raveners and they're gone, and I lost 1 Shining Spear. So I traded 7 Corsairs, 70 points, and 65 points of Rangers and 1 Shining Spear to kill his 3 Raveners. Now, points-wise, I got the bad end of the stick. But the reality is, people think that that's what matters, and it's not. Because I managed to kill his Raveners, his fastest, most threatening piece of his list is now gone. And I get to hold that objective, which means that he's not going to get it, which means he's not pushing me back off of it. It also stops him from getting engaged because I killed the Raveners. And it sets up the Spears to go YOLO forward on this turn. So that was altogether amazing and was much better than I expected it to go. I don't know what 3 Raveners should do into that level of buff Shining Spear. But there you have it. All right. Here come Banshees. Going their full ham here. We're on bottom of 2 here, and the Banshees are going to go up here. Banshees into these Tyranid Warriors is great for me. Love that. It's so good. You can see that I got an 8 on primary. You can see that Nick got a 3 because he did get banners, because he got 3 points for banners. That's why. My bikes advance all the way here. That is so that they can now do their shooting into these gargoyles. They did such a good job of picking up the other gargoyles. Let's see if they pick up these gargoyles. The fire dragons now have plenty of movement to get out and be able to shoot. I'm going to put a bunch of them in terrain here because I'm going to realize that I just can. I'm not going to I'm making the decision. Am I going to battle focus? No, because I advanced. Am I going to fire and fade? If I fire and fade, the terrain doesn't matter. If I don't fire and fade, I'm going to want to be in terrain. He doesn't actually have very much shooting, so just being in terrain is maybe not that bad. These rangers are advancing out to put off their danger close aura on both of these units, which means if the D cannons shoot either of them, they'll be rerolling hits. So I'll be hitting on 4s rerolling rather than hitting on 4s not rerolling. So the idea here is that the D cannons shoot this Tyrant Guard unit, which it's a 5, so I don't get automatic blast, which is sad. And then the fire dragons go here. And if the fire dragons go here, I can throw Doom from the Farseer on these guys, and then they're doomed as well. I'm going to try to put Guide on the fire dragons, because what I want to do is have those 2 units pick up as much of these Tyrant Guard as possible and remove his center of the board power. Now, these Shining Spears, I know that they aren't actually going to go there, so give past Colin a moment, and he'll figure that out. There he goes. Ooh, past Colin, that looked like a little bit far. I don't think it ends up mattering, but it looks like I might have grabbed an inch or 2 on him. I didn't mean to grab there. So the Shining Spears are now right up on the Tyrant Guard. This was hard for me because I can just clear off both of these objectives and pull his banners down, and that's probably enough. But what I wanted to do is remove a bunch of his Tyrant Guard so that his board presence is gone. This is the Corsairs running out here in order to hold the objective for me because I moved the other Corsairs out. These Banshees are realizing that they can't get overwatched by the silly Flamers, and they're running up to get ready to charge the Pyrovores that are on the edge of the table. So I'm building a fairly hard attack here. I'm just basically I'm just going in. I don't have my secondaries aren't really built for me to hang back, right? I have Thin, for example, and so I need to kind of get in there and muck up with him, scrap, as the Orc players would say. Some Psychers moving around here. I always move my Psychers last, pretty much. Wow. That was a long move. Go Elves. All right, it's brain time, I think. I know I've gotten quiet for a second because I'm trying to remember what's going on here. All right, so I fail something. Looks like I don't know what I did. Oh, extra power maybe. That's +1 to wound that just got thrown out from the Warlock. There's a bunch of casters right here, and they threw out Fortune or +1 to wound. They jinxed these Tyrant Guard, and then they put +1 to wound on the Shining Spears. Guide is over here. Actually, I decided to put Guide on the Shining Spears rather than the Fire Dragons. And then I put Doom out on the Tyrant Guard, if I remember correctly. On an 11, which is hot. That was Executioner into the Tyrannid Warriors. So I killed another Tyrannid Warrior with Executioner. All right, Psychic phase is over. Looks like Doom did not go out. I thought it did. The D cannons have spent their 1 CP for rerolls to hit. I spent another CP on something. I get 6 wounds, and he rolls basically all 6s to save it. So the fire dragons don't get to kill like anything, which is super sad. And then I start firing Fading, and then I'm like, wait a minute, no. This is big. This is big time game state awareness. So I just battle focus them, and they get enough to move a little bit, even though they're on the train. I don't know how I battle focus them because I'm pretty sure they advanced. That's a little bit of cheating. Oh no, I just repositioned them a little bit. I don't know why. It's probably because it's a friendly game. Let's not worry about that too much. It didn't change anything. So the idea is I've got Rangers standing here, right? So these Tyrant Guard can't actually get to these Fire Dragons, and he doesn't have shooting that is going to kill Fire Dragons in cover with any efficiency. So I decided to save my 2 CP, basically, is what I do. That's all the Shuriken from the Shining Spears and from these bikes shooting off the gargoyles off this objective. Shuriken into gargoyles is super effective. Very, very easy to clear them off with that. Do you like my pile of buffs, by the way? All these psychic powers that are on the Shining Spears. They have Fortune, +1 to wound, and reroll hits. And then Protect Jinx is on the Tyrant Guard that are sitting there. Here comes the D-Cannons, I believe. The D-Cannons wound 6 times. Let's see. Jinxed means I'm still AP4. I'm ignoring cover, so he has a 6-up save. Here's me rolling damage on them. They don't have Catalyst. And so he just says, okay, well then. I pick up 3. The Shining Spears are now throwing their spears at the close unit, and they're shooting their Shuriken at the unit that the Fire Dragons only killed 1 of, which felt super bad. I think he's looking something up. I don't remember what. Oh, I'm going back and forth on how to shoot the Shining Spears here because I want to clear that objective, but I'm also not going to leave anything on that objective because the spears are going to charge the other direction because of how many Tyrant Guard I've killed. So it's a little bit of a weird scenario because I've opened up an opportunity to charge the Flyrant, and if I can kill the Flyrant with the spears, which I'm not saying I can, but if I can kill the Flyrant with the spears, that's big money. So the spears shoot off another Tyrant Guard, and then it comes back. I don't know why. Maybe because I did something wrong. I don't know. Gargoyle's gone. Looks like there's 1 gargoyle left who I believe has a morale problem, if memory serves me. Well, some Shuriken pistols in the Tyranid Warriors for good measure. That's what happened. Some Shuriken pistols from the Banshees up there. Banshees down to the south have made their charge. Banshees to the north have made their charge. And this is me being like, okay, what the hell do I charge with these super buff Shining Spears? And I decided that charging the Tyrant Guard and the Flyrant is the right decision. The idea here is he doesn't have a behave at top profile strat. So if I can degrade the Flyrant, it makes the Flyrant a lot less scary to my army. And currently the Flyrant is very scary to my army. So that's the general idea. I don't want to charge Swarmlord. That doesn't really get me anything. So in I go. I'm touching 1 Tyrant Guard, and then I've got my 4 spears on the Tyrant. Oh, we just remembered Jinx. That's what happened there. We remembered Jinx and realized he was missing more than 1 Tyrant Guard from that unit. All right. So the Banshees are making their targets fight last, so I'm doing the spears first into the Flyrant. That's 2 wounds. He fails one of them, takes 2 damage, down to 10. Here's everybody else. Guided, they're wounding on 4s because they're +1 to wound. I wound with almost all of them. I spent a CP to reroll the final one, I think. No, I don't. I don't know what I was doing there. He saves some and fails 4 of them, takes another 8 damage, putting him down to 2. So he's now super degraded, which is awesome. I'm not in combat with these Tyrant guards, so they're not going to get to punch me. I'm now doing the Banshees down south. I only kill 1 Pyrovore, but I'm touching the other Pyrovores, so that's something. Oh, I actually killed 2 Pyrovores with including the other sisters. We decide not to roll the 2.5 Tyranid warriors at the top objective because the Banshees just eat them. That unit up there is the 2 damage unit, the mortal wound units to the south, I think. So I cleared both of his objectives. I pulled his banner down on the northern one. I didn't pull it down on the southern one on the screen we're looking at here. I didn't pull it down because I needed to charge the Flyrant. The Flyrant is punching me back, but it is degraded, and I do have invols and feel no pains. I don't get feel no pains against him. He's got the Reaper of a Blood Axe. Sorry about that. I misspoke. So I pull off a spear that dies and another spear that dies. But there's still 2 spears alive touching that Flyrant, which means it's not going to fall back and charge me. One of the problems with Tyranids is that 1 gargoyle is way too far from those tyrants to get ignore morale. Ignore morale is very difficult for Tyranids now, and gargoyles have like a leadership of 5, so that guy just doesn't get to hang. It's basically the deal. I don't remember when we realized that, but it's going to be here in a minute. Beginning of a new battle round, I'm doing a battle focus. I'm doing my fate dice, rather, not my battle focus. He's deciding what he wants to do. So remember, this is a big deal. These Rangers are right here, and he wants to charge the Fire Dragons. He wants to charge the Fire Dragons. That's what he wants. What are you thinking? Let's move forward a little bit. All right, here we go. I did not get any secondary there, but mostly because we're not. Well, I failed ritual. He stopped it, and I did not get my second R&D, and we're not keeping track of thin yet. The reality is that I realized at top of 2 that it was time to be aggressive, and I wanted to hit him really hard and then worry about secondaries, which is a thing that I do sometimes. So if I kill all of their things, you see, then they can't do the missions. So he's pulled his Pyrovore back to touch the objective over here. The Tyranid warriors are going to come up here to try to get the Banshees. If they make the charge, they will have no problem getting the Banshees. There's the Tyrant Guard moving as far as they possibly can. Here's a Tyrant Guard coming up to help Mr. Daddy Flyrant. Here's the Swarmlord coming up to help. Everybody charge those Shining Spears. Those guys are dead in my eyes. I don't care about them anymore. As much distraction as they can give is what I want. Here's the other unit of Tyrant Guard. It's moving up to try to take the objective back by charging the Banshees. If he makes that charge, obviously my Banshees will be destroyed. That's fine. The Venom Throps are spreading out a little bit on the objective. I still haven't brought my Warp Spiders in to Daka. So he doesn't want to get Daka by the Warp Spiders is basically what the deal is there. Someone's busily texting over here. That's not either of us. Someone's watching the game. I think Swarmlord periled himself, so we were seeing some wound dice go in there. Silly Swarmlord. This looks like it's the Tyranid Warriors shooting at my bikes, but they don't get anything. Oh, he kills a bike. Sorry. And wins another. 3 wins. Here goes charging. So those Banshees are in trouble. Banshees don't get any of their defensive buffs, of their super cool buffs while they're defending, only when they're charging. Tyrant Guard into the spears. Swarmlord into the spears. This is me overwatching with the Fire Dragons. I use my 6 on my Fate die to get 1 hit. I get 3 other hits. I wound him 4 times. And he fails the saves. And I pick them all up because Overwatch on Fire Dragons is cool. Another note is I say, hey, roll your charge, because I was trying to point out to him that even with how close he got, I'm still -2 to be charged on my Fire Dragons. And so he probably needed like a 9. Like it wasn't even a good close charge there. So the Fire Dragons pick up those Tyrant Guard. I bet this is all the Tyrant Guard punching those Banshees up top. The Warriors down here missed their charge into the Banshees, which is not good for Mr. Nick. All the Banshees die other than the Exarch. That is a thing that just happens for Eldar players. It's not at all uncommon. We knock over the Fire Dragons for the 7th time this game. That was me rolling through some Field of Pains on the Shining Spears. He's easily killing them all, like which we expected. But the reality is that I'm aggressing him pretty hard, and this is about to be bottom of 3. And what I see as a player who certainly has the violence setting that Anthony talks about, I think I can table him at this point. So I'm not super worried about mission play at this exact moment. I'm just going to kill his stuff and get the mission while I do it. So the Flyrant does easily kill all that stuff kills those Shining Spears. That's fine. I lose morale on the Banshee Exarch. That was sad, but I couldn't have done anything about it. I'm out of CP. There's not much I could have done there. Unlike Sisters, I can't give myself a good morale dice. It's now my turn. We haven't updated my score yet, but I would have gotten an 8 because he's on 3 and I'm on 3. The Banshees are running up here to charge the Warriors. My bikes are coming down to try to shoot off this last Pyrovore. These Rangers are blocking this gap so that Swarmlord can't come through it. And I don't know why, but they're also obsecking on this objective. Fire Dragons are advancing up here this way, right there, so that they can all see these stupid Tyrant Guard, because as we figured out before, Tyrant Guard do not like getting shot with ridiculously high AP weaponry. The D cannons, fun fact, are totally in range of this Flyrant that has like 2 wounds left on it. He also left me a gap back here, so my warp spiders have come down here to shoot the venom throats. Not a job that they're particularly good at, but I didn't have anything else for them to do. So when I say I turn to the violent setting, think of it this way. What happens if the Banshees kill enough of these to matter? These Shurikens kill this thing off. The D-Cannon kills him. The Warp Spiders start working this enough that they don't get countered, and the Fire Dragons pick all this up. What happens then? Well, if that's what happens, he'll only have some Venom Thropes and Swarm Lord, and I'll have most of my army. Even if that doesn't happen, I'm still in a really great position. We're pretty much tied on points. Neither of us are getting secondaries particularly well. He's not getting engaged because I'm aggressing him so hard. I'm pushing him back. He's not getting anything past me. Those Tyrant Guard getting picked up by the Fire Dragons in Overwatch was really bad for him on that. He's not getting grind because I'm killing him really well. I've now pulled down 2 of his banners. So like, it's just really, oh, this is a Warlock smiting that Pyrovore, trying to help it get killed. On a super spite? Not actually a super spite, it looks like. Oh, maybe it was. So picked up that Pyrovore, and that pulls another banner down, means he's only got a banner back here. This is when Anthony Vanilla talks about how you can play aggressive to make up for not having good secondaries. This is what he means. I'm not scoring a bunch on my secondaries, but I'm just winning against a very durable army because I'm built and positioned well enough to do it. I just picked up all the Tyrant Guard with the Fire Dragons. The big unit of 10 Fire Dragons moving around the table. As long as you're really good at planning where am I going to go and then where will I end up and then what threats are to me, if you're good at those things, that 10-man Fire Dragon unit is actually pretty easy to play with. They have a 3-up save, 2-up in cover, 5-up invul. I have -2 to charge on them. They can deep strike for a CP. They're an absolute rock star in my list. D-Cannons at Flyrant. I think I split my fire here, which I shouldn't have done. I should have just dunked the Flyrant, but it worked out. More shoots. Banshee's in down there, like I said. We'll do that Banshee combat and see what comes of it. I only kill one. And then another. So I kill two warriors down there. You can see that my Warp Spiders picked up all but one Venom throw up here. He's just not, he's not doing much to me, but he does pick up my Banshees down here. So I've put him on a 4, right? Because I've taken this objective. I've taken this objective. I've killed a huge amount of his army. I at this point, we call it. And that's, you can see I'm picking up my models. The reality is that at that point, I have my D-Cannons, I have my Fire Dragons, I have my Warp Spiders that came in. I've got I've got an incredible amount of smite, and he literally only has Swarm Lord, a Venom Thrope, and a Neurothrope, and 3 Tyranid Warriors. That's all that he has left. So remember that when you play Eldar, you can really put yourself positioned well. I'm playing Ignore Cover and Children of Prophecy because Ignore Cover makes things like the Fire Dragons and the D-Cannons kill everything. And Children of Prophecy means I could smite everything. It's a fantastic list. You'll get to see the final evolution of it soon. I think the next few bit reps I'm playing Sisters in. But there is one coming up where I'm absolutely playing my updated Eldar. I'm rocking 60 cannons now. I've taken the Shining Spears out as much as I like them. I don't think I need them in the way the list plays. So yeah, great game with Nick. It was super interesting for me. I don't have a lot of reps into Tyranids with Eldar. His plan of I'm going to be double cover on my Tyrant Guard doesn't work against an Ignore Cover army. You could say, well, that's not a fair matchup, Colin. Well, lots of people can ignore cover. Adbeck can ignore cover. Retributors ignore cover for Sisters. Like lots of things ignore cover. So it's not that unheard of. Certainly ignore cover Children of Prophecy is not what everybody's doing with Eldar. I'm also going to be trying Ynnari here. in the next few games. So with that, I want to thank all of you guys for listening and watching. If you enjoyed this, please find more BitReps on our YouTube under the BitRep section. We will be in the next week and a half or so launching Best in Tabletop 2.0, which will have a commitment to how quickly our content comes out, as well as a very affordable way to do both the Patreon group and the YouTube for those that are interested in both. For now, though, I'm going to call it good here. I appreciate all of you. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the game. Make sure to leave in the comments what you thought and ask me anything that you would like. I always answer. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.